sitting here, looking at my life. The times are the times. These are the times of the times. Yeah.
That's a bad state of mind to be in, sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen. All this goes on while we are
Can
being
you
slowly
see me over
killed,
here?
terminated,
Thinking,
cold.
looking at my life.
And while we're being cold and terminated, killed, it's a slow drain of our energy, a slow drain of all of our finances, our monies. It's like vampirism. Mhm. Um,
The mistakes
King
I
Charles
made
over
in
there in
my life.
Britain,
Can you see your
he's a
life
direct
above
descendant from Count Dracula. Mm. A direct 16th generations, I think, down from Count Dracula of Transylvania. Oh, you don't believe that? Do your research. Don't take my word for it. I don't want you to. I want you to do your own research so you can just read in your own brain and go hither, excuse me, go hither, go thither, and go yon. Search this, search that, and all that you can find to research, and it'll come out that yes, he's a descendant from Vlad the Impaler, Count Dracula. And he also lives in the castle of he resides there, they say, sometimes half of the year in the castle there. So the book, the movie of Dracula, well, that myth or whatever is rooted with some truth. There's a lot of truth in that, but I'm not going to get off into the blood rituals and all of that which goes on. Again, I'll ask you to just dig a little bit deeper, dig a little bit deeper, if you choose to, you know. And if not, then uh, you can continue doing what you're doing, living like you're living, put your head in the sand and say that this is all going to pass. Well, it's going to pass, and you and I will pass with it. Um, the governor of New York, Hochul, this lady has has a plan. She signed an executive order to that for the health department that for any reason that they declare that you sick, somebody told somebody that you were sick. They don't even have to prove that you were sick or anything, but they can come to your house and remove you and take you off somewhere. And they don't have to tell you where. They don't have to tell you for how long, and they don't even tell you what you have to do to get out. Now, there was a lawsuit that was filed by some legislators of New York last year, and they won that lawsuit. So they shot that to the curb. The judge said, "Y'all out your mind with this mess." Well, the governor, she and her minions, they appealed it, and I think it's the Fourth Appellate Court overruled the lower court's decision, and said that these legislators and these other groups who were filing this lawsuit did not have standing. They didn't have standing to bring a suit. He didn't judge on the substance of the suit. He just did a Trump thing, Alex Jones thing. He just said y'all ain't got standing, so y'all couldn't sue. Y'all couldn't sue. Well, who can? Uh, their prosecutor was asked that by the judge where they won the case at, and he said, "How do the people get out?" He said, "Well, I guess they'll have to hire a lawyer or something and take it to court." And here you are. They don't have to have proof of nothing now. They don't have to prove that you have a cold, you have COVID, or you have the chicken pox, or you have. They can manufacture any reason to come and get you. So this is in New York, Governor Hochul. Again, do your research on that and understand that this place there in New York, this is designed, this is for all of us. Like Trump said, they're not coming after him because of him. No, they have to go through him to get to all of us. Same thing with Alex Jones. When they can have a trial with no jury. They can have a trial where they can't present their own evidence.
His life, her life,
They just
their life,
are declared to be guilty by the judge. I'm speaking in tongues now. They declared to be guilty by the judge. And so then they bring in the jury to say, just now, how much damages are we going to make them pay? And again, they're not allowed to present their own defense. I know Alex Jones was not. You're not even allowed to say that he was innocent.
It's important to distinguish between the people and their oppressive government. And while the Communist Party of China is undoubtedly America's greatest foreign adversary, it's crucial to recognize that the most urgent threat to the future of the United States resides within its own borders.
We're so used to thinking in terms of the old-fashioned concepts of warfare, we fail to realize that the favorite weapons of communist conquest are instead propaganda.
Do you know who the greatest propagator of disinformation in the history of the world is? The U.S. government.
A slanted view of history.
History has been written to tell us a certain story. The 1619 Project is trying to reframe that story.
What these people are doing is subverting young black minds to think that the Revolutionary War was fought in order to preserve slavery. And it's based on something that simply isn't true.
The tactics of internal subversion.
I thought that America was racist. I thought it was patriarchal. I thought our capitalist society was just a means of exploiting people. And I thought all of these things because that is what I was told.
The preaching of hatred to incite civil disorder.
I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
A California man is facing federal charges for the attempted murder of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
Treason, blackmail, the smear. All totalitarian regimes strive to destroy the close-knit family in order to remove any loyalties that might be higher than to the state itself.
I have seen over the years in my practice a steady decline in the expression of healthy masculinity and healthy femininity. The separation between the male and the female is almost complete now. And it's due specifically to the ongoing attacks against masculinity and the degradation of femininity. And if our family structure is lost in the next generation, what do we have left? We're just a bunch of listless individuals living our lives out virtually behind a computer screen and following the orders of the government.
Maybe it's because I came in the movement at 17 and a half, so I have like just a knack for knowing how to organize young people. I was at our publications table today, and I was speaking to this young person, and he grabbed a book, and he said, it's like Mao's Red Book. And I was like, man, that's what I was thinking. And it was just really cool to hear him make that connection. I was like, how about you buy like 10 to 15 of these books, and you all have like a youth organizing group where you talk about it, and you really try to engage this. We need to build off of that.
And then you have the propaganda apparatus, the media, that is controlled by those alphabet letters I just read off, FBI, CIA, DOD, Department of Justice, Facebook, Google, all these platforms and stuff are these are all ran by the these so-called security apparatuses. Our so-called government, who have sworn to the Constitution, taking an oath to serve and protect this Constitution and the American people. But they would impeach Donald Trump over a telephone call. And most of you out there who say, he should have been impeached. Come on, people. Do you see? Well, I guess you have eyes, but you don't see. Clearly, that's the case.
Washington State is on track to lawfully take gender-dysphoric children away from parents who oppose transitioning treatment.
That is against the Constitution. The only time a parent loses their rights is if there's an extreme circumstance.
It's severing the bond between the parent and the child.
What they're doing is they're dividing families to take control of the children.
The biggest offense against communism is the nuclear family.
In Chapter 2 of his Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx wrote, "Abolition of the family. The bourgeois family will vanish as a matter of course."
We're here today to represent the millions of Black Americans who disagree with the Black Lives Matter movement. If you go to Black Lives Matter website, it says that we disrupt the nuclear family. That's my wife. This is our 4 children. Why would you disrupt the nuclear family?
Because the real objective is to remove the family as a possible alternate source of guidance and support.
The lack of fundamental knowledge of what's going on. We're fighting the Great Reset here. They call the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is the Fourth Reich. The destabilization plan. This is a war on humanity itself. This is not a race thing. Black, white. I want to address this religious aspect to what's going on as well. You know, when I say this is not a race thing, it's not a color thing, it's not a creed thing. Well, a creed thing is part of it, yeah. And then religious, and religious is a part of it. When I say creed, I'm speaking about creed as in culture. When I speak of religion, I'm speaking of Islam, which they divided up. Islam or radical Islam, Muslims and the radical Muslims are terrorists. You know, the bombing that's going on over in Gaza right now, the Palestinians, you know, a lot of the Palestinians are Christians. So the war is really against religion itself, not just Islam, but they're using it's that horse again that they ride, like they rode George Floyd, like they rode the COVID. And so this religious thing is another horse that they're riding. And there was a talk show person that I listened to occasionally, and he was saying he was derating Islam. And when you see all of these horrific acts going on, that is not Islam. Most of us, you know, have not read the Quran, don't know what's in it. All we know is basically is what we've heard on CNN and from other people who have their own agenda.
Klaus Schwab's golden pin-up boy, Prime Minister Mark Rutte, is busy fulfilling the agenda of the World Economic Forum's Great Reset by turfing farmers off their own land.
Perhaps the most important lesson I've learned in my years as Prime Minister of one of the world's most outward-looking trading countries is that national interests are often best served by international cooperation.
Schwab has sold this idea because they're up against the wall. Okay, you have all these governments that are basically broke. So what will happen is if they defaulted, then all the people have lost their pensions, they've counted on it, and they're going to be storming their palaces with pitchforks. Schwab has sold the idea that, well, we go towards Marxism and you can still retain power.
None of these net zero climate schemes work without massively disrupting or even destroying the lives of the little people.
Recently raised a record of $50 billion to take homes from American families.
During the pandemic, when all people were ordered to lock down indoors, why did governments around the world make exceptions for mass protests? We've all heard the term fire sale. In this case, it's not a metaphor. When a community is damaged by protests, the value of local properties plummet. Investors then gobble up the devalued real estate for pennies on the dollar. In many cases, the leaders of the decimated communities receive kickbacks for allowing this transfer of wealth.
Big companies and investment firms swooping in and buying up some of the only affordable homes in your neighborhood.
The more you have individuals not own their own home, the more you have individuals not financially independent, creates more dependence on big financial corporations that profit off of mass people. So we are going towards a world where the people are owning nothing. I always say, like, if we don't own anything, well, who does?
Bill Gates, business magnate, software developer, philanthropist, nation's largest farmland owner. Gates owns nearly 270,000.
It's a reinstitution of Marxism where, communism owned all the property.
In his Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx wrote, "The theory of communism may be summed up in a single sentence: abolition of private property."
Yes. Understand that the scripture, when God fulfilling his promise that he had to come, and the words of Jesus of the scripture, that ye shall know the truth, and the truth will set us free. Free to do what? Well, free, one, to make an informed decision. Knowledge. Where knowledge would come and knowledge would flow, and it would flow more abundantly to give us life, and life more abundantly. How is one to do that, without living life in a proper way? Simply put, what is the proper way? Well, the proper way really is clearly distinct from the wrong way. It's like a dirty glass of water and a clean glass of water. It doesn't take a whole lot of mathematics or scientific genius, as they would like to call it, or whatever, to figure out which one is good for you and which one is not. Only those who want to perverse, cloudy up the waters, so that you can't tell, make you think that you ate the cookie.
Marx rejected all concepts of God, as well as the traditional family. According to members of his own family, Marx was emotionally, verbally, and physically abusive. His wife, Jenny, was plagued by depression, which was compounded by Karl's adulterous impulses and his inability to provide for his children. Despite his privileged upbringing and formal education, Karl Marx was often unwilling to work and instead relied on the financial support of friends and family.
But, this Governor Newsom, and then I'll move on to another point. When Xi Jinping, the leader of China, came to visit San Francisco, San Francisco's just, they got feces all over in the streets. People walk around zombied out on fentanyl, heroin, whatever else. Well, Before Xi Jinping came into town, they cleaned it up. You know how they can do. You know, they covered up, cleaned up everything. And a reporter brought that question to him, and he said, like, you know, he responded, and he said, I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit. He said, you know, people think that we cleaned up, or people are saying that we're cleaning up the streets, you know, because these important people are coming to town. And he said, well, this is true. And he repeated, yeah, this is true. And then that was the end of the clip. So what is they're doing is that you're just rubbing our face right up in it. You know, they wouldn't clean up San Francisco for the people who live in San Francisco. No, they'll clean it up for their leader, Xi Jinping. Yes. But moving along.
I was born in communist China 2 years before Mao started his Cultural Revolution. So we had to be indoctrinated and chanting slogans and holding Chairman Mao's little red books to say, long live Chairman Mao, long live Communist Party.
Inspired by Soviet Union dictators Vladimir Lenin and Joseph Stalin, China's communist leader, Mao Zedong, borrowed from the playbook of the Russian Revolution. To fight anti-communist forces, Lenin organized a military branch of his Communist Party, known as the Red Army. Following suit, Mao branded his army the Red Guards. However, Mao's soldiers were not enlisted from his military. His Red Guards were made up of high school and university students.
So he used young people to start Cultural Revolution, to top down statues, burning old buildings, and demonize all religions, going after all dissident voices, and to turn all the Chinese against each other. Family turn on each other, neighbors turn on each other.
Chairman Mao, as he was known, was deeply influenced by Lenin's ideas on Marxism and revolution, and often praised Stalin as a great leader.
He started his Great Leap Forward campaign in the 50s and killed 2 million landlord owners. 40 million to 60 million people estimated starving to death. The people were trading their children's dead bodies to eat, to survive. Cannibalism was everywhere.
Through war, torture, execution, and famine, Chairman Mao caused the death of 80 million innocent people, making him the deadliest dictator of all time. China shaved the heads of women, put them all in unattractive asexual clothes, did the same thing for the men. This technique has been used in the 20th century by every totalitarian regime.
The Mao wanted to create a genderless society. That's why girls like me could not wear beautiful clothes and could not do makeup. We have to just look like boys, unisex, no gender.
They asexualize the population so that there's no more desire, no more bipolarity of male and female. Everybody looks like an automaton. And then what do? Rather than turning towards one another, they turn towards the state.
So the only thing left for me, a child, to believe in is communism. And Mao was the new God.
Now, in China, the government is not only cracking down on Muslims, but on other religions as well, as it pushes to assert communist ideology.
Here's something else that is banned in China: Falun Gong, a religious movement that emphasizes on spiritual enlightenment and cultivation of virtue.
5,000-year-old Chinese civilization were founded on faith. Communist regime is atheist. So any philosophies which encourage people to believe God, believe good things, is something they don't like. I decided to escape China after serious persecution I have experienced.
Under this
moving along, the destruction of our lifestyles, the demoralization of our culture. What culture is that? The American culture is a culture that we can get in our own automobile and we can go across town, we can go across the city, across state, across the country, and go visit who we want to go visit, go do what we want to go do. In general, that is an aspect of the American culture. Well, that aspect of the American culture, well, the powers that be, they don't want you to be able to do that. So they are implementing, demanding that you buy an electric vehicle. They are banning gas-operated stoves, gas-operated heaters, lawnmowers, you name it. Yes, they are banning them in certain parts of the country. They're already putting bans on it and stuff, but it is a ban. It's going to be a total thing, you know. Just like the frog in the water, they do just a little bit at a time, you know. And you just saying, well, you know, nothing I can do about it. Okay, well, on the federal level, there isn't nothing you can do about it because we have the criminals actually running the federal government.
In 1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read, "When certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic. In the public mind, constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind."
The founding fathers were racist, misogynist, fascist political party, radicals on the far right, anti-Semitic, xenophobic, transphobic, Uncle Tom's white supremacist, domestic terrorist, neo-Nazi organizer, Nazis. You are an anti-vaxxer. Anti-vaxxers. Racist. Career.
This is the first time Assange is being questioned over the rape allegations.
The L.A. Times ran an article calling Larry Elder a black white supremacist.
All committed by soldiers who wear no uniform and who claim to be loyal citizens of the target country marked for conquest from within.
We're going to go visit Mom. I'm going to bring the home family to see Mom. No.
We will shut you down. We will cite you. And if we need to, we will arrest you and we will take you to jail.
You either get your tests done and make sure you're cleared, or we will keep you in a facility longer.
It's going to be very hard for people to do a lot of normal life unless they can prove their vaccination status.
Such as, you're not going to work in this particular agency or institution. You're not going to be able to go to this college or this university. Once we start doing that, you will see more and more people willingly get vaccinated.
More. When people are afraid, they won't just accept authoritarianism, they'll demand it. They will demand it. Somebody do something. Somebody take charge and tell me what to do. Like, where do I stand? Where do I walk? What do we do? What are the rules? And again, people in power always use that, right? What they say, never let a good crisis go to waste. We can take this and we can now enact policies that normally we wouldn't be able to get away with.
Maybe in a couple of decades, when people look back, the thing they will remember from the COVID crisis, this was the moment that we agreed to be surveyed all the time.
And maybe even after the event is over, maybe we can still keep 30%. And over time, multiple crises, suddenly you have a government or an individual who has far more power than they're actually supposed to.
The leader.
That's a heck of a thing. there's no way in my mind that I envisioned this situation. There was no way in my mind that Joe Biden would be elected president.
If the fear of losing your job, your friends, family, and future isn't enough to coerce you into submission, perhaps these incentives will entice you to willingly comply.
It's everything from cash prizes to college scholarships.
Now offering kids 12 and up limited edition Avengers comic books.
Thousands of prizes available,
including cruises and Super Bowl tickets.
They're giving away Ford F-150 trucks. They're giving away shotguns and hunting rifles.
Marijuana dispensaries are giving away
joints for jacks. Krispy Kreme announcing this week a free donut. And yes, free beers.
That's right. Get a shot and have a beer.
Today could be your lucky day.
California's vaccine lottery.
One grand winner to take home
up to $5 million if you get vaccinated next week.
They made it exciting, right? There's a reason people go to Vegas.
It really could be somewhat lucrative if they aren't already persuaded.
13-year-old Joshua says one of the best parts of getting a shot at Mickey D's, lunch on the house.
Just think of this when you think of vaccination. Vaccination.
If you need luck with love, dating apps are offering incentives too.
Vienna Brothel is providing COVID-19 vaccinations and giving those who take up the offer a 30-minute session with a, quote, lady of their choice.
We have finally found the one thing that makes us all more attractive, a vaccination.
To love one another, as Jesus said, get vaccinated, get boosted.
Do you think that it's being posed as politics, but it's behaving like a religion?
Because it's acting like a religion.
Yeah.
It's dogmatic, it's absolute, it's if you do not believe in it, you are condemned to hell. Maybe this is a new religion.
God did answer our prayers. He made the smartest men and women, the scientists, the doctors, the researchers. He made them come up with a vaccine. That is from God to us. And we must say, thank you, God. Thank you.
A man who ran a campaign from the basement because he could not communicate to people. And when he did come out of the basement, he had maybe 20 people at his rallies. 30, 40 maybe. Half of them were press.
Society. Obviously, you don't like to tell people what to do, but sometimes for the good of society, that's necessary.
We have to start doing things for the greater good of society, and not for idiots who think that they can do their own research.
But it's not about me and my rights to choose. It's about how I love my neighbor.
You are not doing this for yourself. If you are at all like me, your own health, your own risk, is not a big rational driver of all of your actions.
They trick us into thinking that if you act in your own self-interest, that somehow you are selfish, and nothing could be.
We're all fighting with each other, and the way that we combat that is doing the opposite of what these war overlords want us to do, which is fight with each other. We should be learning how to forgive and inviting other people to the table even if we disagree with them, and extending grace to one another even if we know that they've done something that we totally disagree with, because that's how we ultimately are going to heal as a nation, is understanding that we all come from different walks of life and we all live here together, and let's start talking.
The only real problem that's existed in the world, it's division. It's that people are not getting in rooms, willing to speak with one another, see each other's hearts, and get to know, hey, what do you believe? What do I believe? And is there a way we can actually work together to solve these problems? And I'm willing to bet that most of the Gen Zers would say yes. That's what we do right now, and that's why I'm glad we're the age that we are, because we can be leaders of that conversation.
When I started to realize, like, wow, freedom's a polarizing concept for some reason. Thought this was America. Is this America? It is? Okay. World's different than I thought. So my fear was I could lose everything. I could lose my audience. I could lose my business. But I knew, especially having a son come into the world, I am imprinting something on his beautiful, innocent, fragile psyche and heart. I'm imprinting the man that I am, or I'm imprinting a hollow shell of the man that I refuse to be. And I knew in that moment, I'm willing to risk losing everything to do that. I would rather pick up cans on the side of the highway to feed my family than to live out of alignment with my truth and betray my son.
If we lose this country, the world will be a very dark place. I have 3 children in this country. I want to protect their American dream. So here I am, you know.
I've noticed that every time you speak about America, your eyes fill with tears.
I do love this country. No place to go. And I just hope people can hear my stories. For past 5 years, I've been telling the same thing. I have no political agenda here. I just want to live American dream and my children live American dream. Sorry about that. It's time to ask questions. It's time to wake up.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave. I said the land of the free and the home of the brave. I said the land of the free and the home of the brave.
all the time.